For over 1,000 years, Western civilization has been stuck in a dark age of sexual repression and misinformation. We get an oversexed overload from the media, but nothing in the way of honest, helpful, practical information on sex and how to do it right. That sucks, and I'm fucking sick of it. My name's JV Altheras, and I've spent a couple decades learning everything I can about how to have amazing sex and more of it. Not in a classroom like a lot of people who talk about sex. I learned it all in the gutter, right where Mom told me I'd end up. It's my mission to bring an end to the sexual dark age with brutally honest talk and education on all aspects of sex and sexuality, in an atmosphere that will keep you entertained without treating you like an idiot. Shara and I are not doctors. Certifiable, perhaps, but not certified in any way. And that means we don't have to talk about vaginas and penises to maintain academic credibility. You got a problem with a vagina? Call a gynecologist. You want to learn more about pussies and cocks and how to make them happy? You've come to the right place. Greetings and welcome to episode 81 of Ending the Sexual Dark Age.
81?
81.
Wow, with our new setup. How exciting.
Yes, we are quite excited here today at Mission Control because we finally at long last have proper recording equipment. And there are a few bells and whistles yet to purchase. But
no, you and your bells and whistles.
Well, you have never known me as a real audio snob. I pretty much stopped playing in bands by the time we met.
I know, but I still knew that snob in you.
And again, there's a mixing board in front of me.
If people could see how hard your cock must be right now. And it's not for, the excitement of some hot sex or anything like that. It's just the mixing board. Yeah.
Well, it's having pro audio again. I mean, it was a struggle. It was a little bit of a journey getting set up. I went through 2 mixing boards and 3 different brands of microphones and remembered very quickly how much of a pain in the ass pro audio is until you get your shit all dialed in right. But
you know who could relate to that?
Who?
Dylan.
Oh, I know Dylan can relate to it.
Dylan can definitely relate to that.
I called Dylan at your suggestion. Dylan, thank you again for the telephone technical support.
And by the way, thank you, JV, for finally listening to me to call him. I'm like, just call Dylan. If anybody can relate, it'll be Dylan.
Well, right. But I had to get to a point where I had narrowed the problem down to something that could be communicated verbally.
I know. So, yes, thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, so hopefully this will sound a million times better than we have sounded.
Yes, and so what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we got lots of stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So this is our first show of 2017.
And I have decided to make 2017 a good year, no matter what. Even if something negative happens, I'm going to turn it into a positive.
Good.
Well, they always say you can learn from a negative experience, which is true. However, I want 2017 to be a very good year.
I agree.
Okay, and so what else are we going to talk about?
Well, we haven't really done an episode where we talked about desire.
Oh.
And all the awesome shit that happened on the trip.
Oh.
Yes. Well then. Shower's first uncontrollable blush. I will have to remoderate the location of the xylophone.
Oh. You do that. I could relocate it for you.
No, that's not what I said.
Oh, that's what I said.
With the old recording setup, I had it in a spot where it wasn't too loud, and I don't think that was too loud, but we'll have to see.
Well, if it is too loud, I could dispose of it. No problem.
No one asked you to dispose of it, Princess.
Okay.
In fact, we have had an official request to bring the xylophone to Desire next time. So if you want to go down the road of talking about the xylophone.
There's nice things about Desire. And then there's nice things about Desire. And then there's this Dom connection that happens that is really good for you. And
it's great for you and the other submissives as well.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Let's just do
If only the audience could see your lying face right now.
Well, what I'm trying to do right now is picture all of the submissives that I was able to get really close to on this trip. And, we formed our own little chat group as the Doms did. And I'm thinking they would probably be agreeing with you. Especially this one that, Swinger Doc's lovely sexy pixie. I think she's a little bit of both. She likes to stir up a little bit of that trouble, and she likes bringing out that little,
Yeah, she's pretty good at keeping a low profile, though.
Mm-hmm. She is.
But she flew under the radar for a lot of the shit that happened on this trip.
I have to say, though,
we'll get her next time.
I have to say, I just love the people at Desire, both the friends that we make, the new people that you meet, and the people that work there. I love them all, but this trip was especially special. I just really made a good connection with some of the submissives, and some that I already was friends with before became closer to this trip. So,
well, yeah, and I feel like we really kind of hit a stride with the resort, and it was a takeover this time, so there were a shitload more people, but we also knew a lot of people this time going in, so it was a great trip. I mean, we made a lot of new friends, but we also got closer to a lot of people that we knew casually, and that was awesome. We've done a much better job than we ever have in the past at maintaining connections after the trip, which has turned out to be a great thing, just mentally. I have this constant conversation going on my phone with one or more of the other doms from Desire.
Don't I know? Ding, 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 ding. That is, by the way, just in case anybody isn't sure, is JV's phone going off while we're sitting there, and it's the doms all, having their say about, I don't know, let's see, disciplinary actions.
Well, often we're just entertaining each other, but yes, there's plenty of that also gets discussed.
You do entertain each other, although I will say the submissive group, we kind of entertain each other as well. So,
Yes, from what I hear, you spend a whole lot of time worrying about what we're talking about.
Perhaps, I just prefer not to talk about it too much because I want to fly under the radar. Let's not talk about this. Don't bring it up to JV because I'll just stay under the radar.
Yeah, so I mean, the trip had so many highlights. It's kind of hard to hit them all. I had a great week as a service top, probably my best week as a service top, more fun and more play than I've done in that particular role for a really long time. So that was awesome. I made it through the entire week. I don't even know how many fucking floggings I gave, and my shoulder didn't spaz out on me. So that was awesome.
You definitely gave out a lot of floggings.
I did. Oh, it was glorious.
But I know how much you love that.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, everyone has certain things that they like to do more than others. A lot of people have one thing that is kind of their particular groove, and for me, it is impact play and more specifically flogging.
Oh, if everybody could just see the smile on his face as we're talking here. Smile from ear to ear. And it's just like the minute you started talking about it, there goes the smile. If everybody had that one thing that made them smile like that, we'd all have great years ahead of us.
Well, I had an interesting conversation on the first day. I was wearing one of my hat signs. For those who do not know, I've got a Panama hat, and I tend to put index cards with messages in Sharpie.
You had a Panama hat.
Yes. Oh, my hats were consumed by the airport.
And the case that people would always ask, oh, what is that? What's in there? Oh, my hats. Oh, so it's a hat carrying case. So I'm sure they probably thought it was for me, but no, it was for you.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say they must be nice hats. Yeah, they fucking are nice hats.
They were. And
well, they still are somewhere.
Yeah,
they're
somebody
not my
now
nice
has
hats
them
anymore.
Because when we got on, was it on the plane? No, it was when we were waiting for the plane.
Yeah, no, we changed locations 10 times, and the airport.
Then we met up.
Yeah, the airport had a blackout, and it just was a circus.
Let's not forget to mention that, a whole crew of people that were at Desire ended up at that airport at the same time as us. So it was like, oh, we said goodbye.
Yeah, we did have a little reunion. Again. There were a bunch of people we said goodbye to twice.
Yep, life on the swing set. Almost everybody's there.
Yeah, we had a little swing set command center going on in the airport terminal.
So it was funny. Have to say it was funny. So anyway.
But yeah, so
the hat sign.
Yeah, so the particular hat sign I was wearing was the service top is on duty. And someone came up to me and asked, so you don't enjoy it? And I was kind of taken aback. So he had a misunderstanding of what the term service top meant. So
for the people out there who might not know, please explain.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
My lovely assistant has set me up perfectly.
I did that at the trip too.
Really? Well, we'll get to that shortly. So a service top, anyone can theoretically play the role of a service top. So it's just a role. So I enjoy kink a lot, and I enjoy a lot of activities to the point where I am happy to play when there is no sex involved or, no penetration. There are many people I've fucked while my dick was still in my pants. It's another way to say it. You look suspicious.
No, I'm just thinking of the trip. That's all. All those moments in my head.
Yeah. So, and we had many other service tops on the trip as well, as anyone who listened to episode 80 will know. The other guys who were also acting as DMs on our dungeon night. But no, so a service top is happy to play with somebody with no particular expectation. It's not, doesn't have to be a sexual encounter. And there are a lot of people who, the way they interact with their kink is in a fundamentally sexual way. So that is just not their thing. To give a 40-minute flogging to somebody that they're not going to fuck later is not a part of their groove. So it's certainly not something that's not suited to everybody. But those of us that it is suited to enjoy it a whole lot.
And then there's the people who enjoy watching. I won't name names, but
Are you going to name yourself?
No. I'll just say this, that Swinger Doc may have received a bruise on his hand while he was spanking that person that was watching so intensely and enjoying that I think...
Are you talking about yourself in the fourth person now? What just happened there?
I'm just going to leave that for people to guess. But as Swinger Doc was, spanking that person and working his hand into a bruised moment, that submissive may have been able to get through all of that just by watching you have your fun, which is fun for that person.
You like watching me give floggings. That was the longest way you could possibly have come up with to say that you enjoy watching me give floggings.
Perhaps what I was saying was that the person who gave Swinger Doc a bruise on his hand from so many spankings.
That was your ass, yes.
So anyway.
That was your ass that injured Swinger Doc.
So, okay, that was fun to say. Wasn't it? Didn't you enjoy saying that?
It was, yes.
It was fun to hear. Okay, so moving along.
I kept hitting his hand with my ass until it was all bruised and fucked up.
Trust me, that ass stayed in place. It did not move.
I noticed that. You didn't squirm for him.
I know, exactly, right?
Never got around to talking about that. I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, not me. Let's move on.
That leads us right into one of the experiments we're going to be performing at Fetish Fair Flea. Don't you remember when I was telling you about that thing we were talking about in the dominance group? How you seem to be able to take way more of a beating from everyone else than you can take from me, and you're always crying about how much it hurts. So we're going to have to do like a Pepsi challenge with your ass and everyone.
And everyone?
Yes.
Everyone.
Well, we'll need to get Swinger Doc in there, and we'll have...
Is it going for bruise number 2?
We'll have Duncan there. Oh, I think he'll be more prepared this time. We'll have Duncan there. Oh, see? We should have Rope Master there. So we got a couple other sexy friends who are swing setters that are going to be there. At least a couple. I'm sure there are some that are going to be there that we don't know about yet. But specifically, the people who are well aware of the beating that you were able to take from Swinger Doc, we're going to see why it is that you seem to be able to take so much more of a beating from everyone else.
Well, we better line up people for you to flog in front of me so that I can get through all of that. That's going to be quite a list. I'm sure we'll have no problem with signing some people up for you to flog.
Well, yeah, in that environment, we could probably find someone looking for a flogging. Yes.
You think?
Yeah.
You think? Okay. Because if you're not sure, I know Duncan's lovely wife is always more than willing to, do it for the good cause. With Duncan's approval, of course.
I always enjoy beating Mrs. Duncan.
I enjoy watching. She's so lovely. Okay, so next.
Yeah, so you had some firsts. So I should say, I conspired with one of our sexy friends to get shower fucked with a strap-on the November trip. And
Well, she is sexy. She is sexy.
Another blush.
She is. Very sexy.
So we were conspiring about it for a couple of weeks, or at least more than a couple of weeks before the trip. And we were originally thinking we were going to do like some kind of an ambush, which would have been really entertaining for a number of reasons. You know, like we walk in the door and you just get thrown down and fucked by surprise, because we know how much you'd like that.
Do we?
Oh, and another blush.
Again, I'm going to have to hide
My
that.
little terrible liar.
Okay, so moving forward.
Yeah, so, but once we got to the resort, it became apparent that just the way schedules work there, a surprise like that, or an ambush like that, is more difficult to pull off than it would seem.
Well, plus she was a very busy person.
Yes.
Very busy.
Well, she did have her find time to fuck the hell out of you.
Well, I'm just saying she was very busy, and, it was all good. Very good. Very good.
So you haven't really spent any time talking in detail about the strap-on experience. So how was that for you in comparison to being fucked by a guy?
Well, first of all, as you know, I am always wet.
Right.
So the two lovely ladies, when she approached me and took me over there onto the bed, and then, I don't think Ophelia will have a problem with me mentioning her name, right?
I doubt it.
So, she looked at me and said, Ophelia's here. She's, gonna be here if you need anything, or, so forth. So they hand me lube. They said, what kind would you like? And I'm like, I don't know, because I never use any, because I don't need any. But then I'm thinking, okay, a strap-on might be way different, because I've never had a strap-on experience. So then, of course, I'm not embarrassed to say it, but didn't realize it was just a flip up top, so I'm trying to do it. So Ophelia is so kind and sweet. And here, it's just a flip open, I'm like, okay. And,
how do you work these confounded lube bottles? I have the wettest pussy in North America. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it was funny. So it was an awesome experience. And I do believe Ophelia was starting to say something to me, and I think I kind of passed out. So she wanted to know if it was okay if she could touch me. And of course I was trying to say yes.
Yeah.
But I think I got lost in there.
Well, I did give a warning that you would pass out, and it was okay to just either slap you around or just fuck you harder until you woke back up.
Yes, well, I did wake back up.
I feel it's important to give advance notice that you're going to pass out to the people you fuck.
I think it's very important. And to those that spank you as well, because
yes.
Some people just have trouble staying awake during certain moments. But it was an awesome experience, and I came very easily and fast. Very fast. So it was an awesome experience. And I have to say, it's always good to take an experience that's the first time for yourself.
Yeah.
And have it with somebody who has been down that road more than once. So I don't want to say her name because I don't know if it's okay, but she knows who she is, and it was awesome for my first time experience. So thank you very much.
She is indeed a skilled wielder of the strap-on.
She is, and she did a good job. A great job. What am I saying? Good? No. Great. Yes. It was awesome. So very awesome.
So is there more strap-on fucking in your future, princess?
Well, I think so.
Good for you.
I think so. I'm trying to think how to word this. I like being the receiver.
Right.
I don't know if I'd be interested in wearing a strap-on, but
that's a lot of work.
It is. And I'll tell you, she does it well. Because I know how much work.
Operating a cock or a strap-on, that's a lot of work.
I know. I know how much work it is, and I'm not even the person doing the giving. So I appreciate people like her a lot.
So did you have any other actual firsts on this trip?
Oh, I did.
What?
Well, first again, I'm going to mention Dylan, because during their podcast, and I'm telling you, him and his lovely wife, I just adore them both. And first of all, I want to go back and talk about, there's all these different events that you can go to to learn and so forth. But I really enjoyed watching Tanya with her coloring book session.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome to watch. I was standing back and, was watching her smiling the whole time she was coloring. Now, I love to color, but as you get older, you don't think about coloring in that term and so much. And she really enjoys coloring. I was just watching her face, and she always smiles, but I mean, like, it was just this big grin from ear to ear on her. She really enjoyed doing it. So that's not something you would typically see at certain events, such as a takeover like that. And I was glad that I saw it. I was glad that I was able to sit back and watch it. But during the podcast that Life on the Swing Set did, of course, missing Ginger and Prof a great deal, and watching Cooper and Dylan do their toasts. And so that experience was fun to watch. And when Dylan's feeling very happy, he's always very gracious and always saying wonderful things to people. But he would, keep leaning backwards and saying, "Oh, Shara, just love you." And, I said, "I love you too." And one of the most profound things that I really found him saying was, to the people out there who are afraid to ask for something, don't be afraid to ask. The worst that's going to happen is someone's going to say no. So after the podcast, there was the foam party, and they immediately went down, and we talked about going, but I said, I want to go back to the room first. And, I had this plan in my head after Dylan had talked, and there was this lovely woman there that I thought was just adorable. And, she kissed me, as you know, several times. And so I genuinely liked her just as a human being, and talking to her, very intelligent. And so I decided I was going to take the foam party moment to ask her about getting flogged in our room with us both laying on the bed, to let you flog us. But I didn't want to tell you that. I wanted it to be a surprise. However, I'm usually not very direct, as you know. I know people don't believe this.
Pretty much the most awesome kind of surprise. Continue.
But typically people, even though we do a podcast, probably don't know that I'm really actually kind of shy. So putting myself out there like that is difficult. But I kept thinking about what Dylan said. And I said, I'm going to do this. So of course, I'm in my room. And next thing I know, there you are. Clothes off. Okay, I'm ready for the foam party. And I'm like, I'm not going in.
No, you said you wanted to go to the foam party.
Right. Right. But I wanted to go to the foam party and watch, because I didn't want to get in, because when I saw her get out, because I knew she was going, because we had talked about it. But I wanted to get her as she came out to ask her. And I knew if I went in, that was probably not going to happen, because as everybody knows, at the foam party, those that have been to it, it's just one big party, and everybody's, you don't know.
Jim calls it soap and grope.
Yes, soap and grope. And you don't know what you're touching or who you're touching.
3 feet of foam on top of the pool. Yeah.
I decided I'll never get a chance to ask her. So I just wanted to sit by the bar area outside, because you could sit at the bar in the hot tub or in the pool, or you could sit on the outside. They have, bar stools there. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. So, you're like, oh, okay.
That information just would have been helpful had I received it a little earlier, that you weren't interested in going into the pool at the foam party.
I was in the middle, and so that people understand where my head was at, I'm not comfortable. I'm shy, whether people think that or not. I am shy. And so I was like going through my head of all these different things and how I was going to handle it. And so I was thinking about that and not thinking about explaining to you, oh, I'm not going in. I just want to go over to the area and just watch. But nonetheless, you go, okay. And I could tell you weren't real happy with it. But I knew that the outcome, if I received a yes answer, was going to be okay. By the end of the evening, you would have forgiven me.
Well, it's not like it's not like we could stay mad about something like that. I was just confused.
I know. But I'm saying the confusion would be cleared up at the end of the evening. So anyway, we get there and we're watching, and I forgot who joined us. Somebody was sitting and talking with you mostly, because I was busy watching for this person, and kept pointing, and then that I saw her, and she did get out. So I said to you, excuse me for a minute, and I went over and I was talking to her and just said, I just was wondering if you would, be interested in, since you had a flogging earlier, the day before, and at the dungeon party. And so I was just wondering if you'd be interested in having a flogging, the two of us, I want to kind of give back to JV for being so giving to me on this trip. And she said, well, I got to go ask her friend that she was there with. And I said, okay. And so I saw them talking, and then she came back over and she said, yes. And I was like, yes, I'm so excited. I asked like Dylan suggested, and I received a yes. Now, Dylan, I want to thank you again, because I was prepared that it could be a no. And if it was a no, it was just a no, no big deal. So that was a first for me asking. It was a first for me to have the flogging on the bed with somebody else.
So fucking hot.
It was very. And of course we had dinner plans, and I didn't care if we were late for the dinner plans. And I know that our dinner friends.
Well, really probably for those who know us well, I didn't care if we were late. And punctuality is a compulsion with me.
Yes, it is. So, so it was a wonderful experience, a hot experience. And I just have to say that I'm not mentioning her name, but she knows who she is if she listens to this episode, and that her and her boyfriend were both very awesome and very giving. I'm not sure that he's into any kind of kink, and I think she's just kind of experimenting, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, we connected with them kind of late in the week, which is always the bummer. Like when you connect with really cool people right at the end of a trip.
Yes.
I mean, it's also nice because you hopefully get to see them again and you have something to look forward to. But yeah, it's just always it always feels like you missed out on something. Even
very
if you didn't.
true, very true. So anyway, it was a wonderful evening, and she kisses great, and very, very sexy, very, very sexy person. But it's not just about that. I loved the inner part of her and who she was and how much fun she has. So sometimes when, like us, owning a company and being bogged down with the day-to-day things, it's not always easy to let that go. So these trips are important because I'm allowed to relax and try to not worry about a bunch of different things that are going on. And although I do, but this trip was an awesome trip in the standing of some new first experiences. And
we really we've clicked with a lot of people at the resort, and many of them are still our friends. Well, all of the ones we've clicked with at the resort are still our friends to this day. But it's even when you're surrounded by 200 sexy people, when you feel like you're cut from the same cloth as somebody, everything is easy. You communicate easily. You pick up on body language easily. So it's just, you more quickly develop a strong connection.
Yes.
And that's just always that. And desire tends to promote that, but it's always something that is worthy of taking notice. And I've talked about this before. I'm in the post checklist phase of sexuality, like all the important stuff. I've checked all those boxes, so it's all gravy. But it's still always awesome to find something that I have never done before and then immediately be able to do it. Like I have never flogged two hotties on a bed while they're making out.
Did I leave that out? Did I leave that part out about making out?
Yeah,
Did I leave that part out?
That was so hot. Seriously, that was, and just, particularly the two of you, not like any two women it would have worked for, but particularly the two of you. It was
thank you.
Incredibly hot, top 10, all-time top 10 list. That was like a 2-hour flogging, and I could have gone for another 2 hours. It was awesome. Well,
next time I'll try to make sure to arrange longer time, but it was a first for me that I took some independence and said, I want to do this for you because you have in so many ways helped me to grow in life. And I'm older than you, but I'm very naive. And so for me, I have a lot of firsts that I've never had. So to give you a first, it's kind of a first for me. And wow, I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. But yes, it was truly an awesome experience for me as well. But the biggest treat for me was giving you something that I knew you would enjoy. And don't get me wrong, everybody there, a lot of people say, oh, I feel so fat and I feel this and I feel that. But honestly, there's not a person there that I have met that I didn't like. And I don't see that if they say, oh, I'm so fat, or because there are so many wonderful souls there that just it's who they are that you really, grasp onto and enjoy. And I just, when I talk about if you ever get a chance to go, that you should go on the trip, because it's just an experience of a lifetime if you are able to let yourself go. And we all know that we've grown from going on so many of the trips, but even your first trip there, if you are able to allow yourself enough time to experience those days there, you get courage from other people. If you are kind of shy or you aren't sure about yourself, people make you feel good about yourself, and they're doing it because they mean it, not because they're trying to, get in your pants or just trying to make you feel good. It's all very genuine. And I want to say that the submissives that I really connected with on this trip, I feel very close to, and I have enjoyed getting to know them immensely. But Duncan, wonderful sir that he is, he's a very good dominant. He takes that role, I shouldn't say role, but he takes that title very seriously. And his lovely wife, she has taught me a lot. We've, in Washington, we were with them, and I was having a difficult time about something, and she really helped me get through that. But in everything about her is she always finds the positive, and that's where it hit me, is in 2017. I'll take a negative and I'll turn it into a positive, because she taught me that. She, and so I'm saying that because we've been on several trips with them now. At Desire, they've been there, and then in Washington, and each and every time she's there for everybody else. And if she gets some enjoyment out of something, that's fine, but she really is there for herself. So when you ask me about my experiences, and a lot of the first that I experienced were also just learning from those people.
And then our second or third night there, Duncan got to work you over with the violet wand.
Yes, he did. I think I passed out then too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, only 10 or 12 times. That was the first warning I had. Well, he already knew, but there were others playing. So,
what I really like about the dominants that you connected with, and I connected with their submissives, is they are all very cautious, always, about when they're playing with somebody else, whether it's a spanking or a flogging or whatever, making sure that they really know who that person is. And if they don't, checking in with that person all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay? And sometimes I know, like, some of the submissives are like, yes, I'm okay. Just leave me alone. I just want to keep on going here. But as a rule, until you know them, you have to have signals, or you have to check in with them. And so I was watching you, with the different people, and it was just, a lot of fun. And it's the first time that we had a dungeon, and they made the furniture within 3 days of a request. And I also think that they're now trying to promote.
Well, they are. Yeah. For the first time ever, in January, they have a bondage week scheduled.
That's this month.
Yeah. So, and we'll be back down there in April. So this is a good time to announce the April trip, I suppose. For the last couple of years, we have gone to the resort in April, roundabout standard spring break week with Ginger and Prof. Mm-hmm. 1 year it was just us and them. Obviously the rest of the resort of people, but no one else that we knew already was there. Then last year, we and Ginger and Prof have led this group in the past.
Yes.
They are currently on hiatus. So we have stepped into the leadership role. So we are now officially running our own trip for the first time.
Well, I'd like to think of it more as we are carrying the torch for Ginger and Prof till they're able to.
Oh,
come
well,
back.
absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And I'm hoping, who knows, miracles happen all the time, that they'll be able to join.
Oh, yeah. If schedules align properly, hopefully we have scheduled it the week that they would have been able to go, had it been
Just in
possible.
case.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case.
But so we have Swinger Doc and Sexy Pixie confirmed. And this is not a resort takeover. This is in many ways very different from the November trip because it is more about chilling out and relaxing and playing hard in smaller doses, I suppose. We have done a hell of a lot of kink up at the hot tub. Now we have dungeon furniture. And I have been assured by the resort that, I have no expectation we'll get to close down the disco and run a dungeon again, but I know we'll be able to get access to the furniture during the day, and we can probably run our own dungeon in the disco during the day.
That'd be nice.
I have every reason to believe that we'll be able to put that together. So we can do, and the intention is to be openly welcoming of kinky people, but as always, the curious or people who just want to get away for the weekend are more than welcome. So it'll be a smaller, more intimate group, and also the rest of the resort. And we just always had a great time in April in the past.
Always.
It's a great vacation just for different reasons than the November trip.
And also meeting new people, JD and Star.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
Funny. We always, even when it's not the November group, we always end up in the same part of the hot tub having the same geek conversations with sexy naked people. It doesn't have to be when the swing set is there. It's like, hey, it's April and I'm in the hot tub for Hot Tub Happy Hour talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah. So, it's just always a good time. And seeing some of the other people that we see all the time, but it just was a really great trip this time.
Yeah, so we are calling the trip The Dark Side of Desire.
Uh-oh.
Come enjoy the dark side with us. It'll be April 15th to April 20th. Shar Travel is handling all the arrangements, the same awesome travel agency that handles the November trip. So we are going to continue doing this, and we're going to try and make it a little bit bigger every year, but the goal is not a resort takeover for this group. The goal would be, if we can get 15 or 20 couples, fill up 20% of the resort. So we've got enough people there that, they'll really be motivated to be flexible to our outrageous requests. And of course they haven't told us no yet, which is a really dangerous precedent to set with us.
Very. Very.
Hey, can we shut down the disco and run a dungeon? Yeah, okay. Can you build us a bunch of furniture for the dungeon? Yeah, okay.
I have to say, Jim and Shar from Shar Travel, she's always busy, taking care of one of the other trips. So we really have never had a chance to experience the two of them, but they work really well together, even if they're in different areas of, land. She's often in Jamaica while he's taking care of us, but he really goes out of his way, and they both work very hard. But like I said, I know how hard he works because I've witnessed it, and I know that Shar works just as hard. So he had a lot to do with making sure that we received what we were looking for. He really did. So.
Yeah, so if you are interested in the trip, room rates, we are there for 5 days, but certainly last year there were people who only came for the weekend because that was what worked for them. It's a little bit more expensive in April, so we intentionally make the trip shorter, and also it's easier to get away for a shorter trip. We won't be gone for a full week.
Right.
So we'll be trudging back into work on Friday, wishing we were on the beach, but yeah, so it's a little bit more manageable. So we would love to see any and all of you. We'd love to see all of you, but we don't think there's room. But anyone who is interested in the trip, feel free to email me, jvalthoras@gmail.com, until we get a page up on the website. And then Shar Travel is handling all the travel arrangements. So you can email jim@chartravel.com. That's CHAR travel.com. Or go to their website. We are just putting this together and just announcing it now, but Jim is going to put together a page on the website for the trip, and so we can give people a little bit more information about it. And if you would rather just deal with somebody who's sexier than me, you can always email Shara at jvshara@gmail.com.
I wouldn't say sexier now. Just maybe some would prefer a female versus the male.
Oh.
You know, like me, I'm lucky. I can have the male or the female. I go both ways, so, you know, just saying.
Both ways. There are more than two. I've seen you go more than two ways.
Moving on. Next.
Oh, well, there's another blush. It was wonderful, actually, at the group dinner that we did with our fellow DM couples to have the xylophone app, to have all of you get your own note as you were blushing horrendously and unable to control yourself.
Notice Sexy Pixie tried to hide under that one, too.
Oh, she did.
Just take a note there, Sexy. She really is sexy.
But it was genuinely adorable for all five of us Doms to be watching you guys constantly for 2 hours trying to do anything but have the attention. Like, oh, would you rather focus on her?
Definitely. You know, she's right over there, you know. I can transfer, no problem.
Yeah.
I can move that subject right along. But we, again, had some wonderful laughing moments at dinner.
Oh, yeah, that dinner was so much fun.
Let's not forget the lovely submissive and her situation with Ginger. And I don't mean Ginger and the Prof. I mean Ginger the Spice.
Yes. Google figging. And you can learn all about it. But yes, one of the other couples at the resort, she was a submissive and managed to draw a lot of attention. And she was fun.
No, yeah,
she was fun to taunt.
The whole evening was fun.
I didn't even end up taunting her personally at any point. I just ended up entertained by it for the entire trip. Because I was standing next to people who were taking care of that for us.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. One of the other fun things that Ginger and I kind of had happen on one of...
Ginger the person now, right?
Correct, Ginger the person. Had to do with throwing each other under the bus. And so Ginger would always say to me, "There you go, Shara, throwing me under the bus."
Yes.
And so then there were times that Naughty's pet and I would be joking about the bus as well. Thank you to Ginger to getting that whole thing started. If Ginger only could see how many little buses we have characterized emojis.
The bus emoji was a welcome addition for you guys.
Yes, that we toss out there between us submissives. But yes, so Naughty's pet and I were, enjoying the whole throwing each other under the bus. And let me tell you, Naughty's pet, her buses could be killer, but you always enjoy them. But she thoroughly can throw you under that bus ever so sweetly. And little did I know that Sexy Pick could be very helpful with that bus as well. She's very good at it. So
all of you are. Yeah. It's hilarious.
So
it's like you're playing hot potato with the attention of all the dominants. It's hilarious. We talk about it.
Oh, really?
It's adorable. Yes.
Oh. So I just want Ginger to know, she gets a chance to listen to the episode, that her being thrown under the bus has gone a long way at Desire. And carries on back here at home. So anyway, that is definitely a fun experience, and Naughty's pet is very good at the whole bus driving thing. She says, "I'm the bus driver," but I think she tries to blame us on the bus stopping and throwing us. So, but she's a good bus driver. I'll say that.
Well, let's see. I think it's about time to wrap up this episode. It's been a wonderful test drive of the new studio.
Yes, I'm hoping that it turns out very well, which I'm sure it will.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's going to sound great. We'll have to... there are still tweaks to make. This is the first time out for the new equipment. But,
we know perfectionist.
And I'm a little bit rusty at running a mixing board.
And you're a little OCD perfectionist. Yes, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do.
I let a lot slide now. Like, I know for a fact there are 3 or 4 keyboard clicks in here that I'm not even going to try to find.
Okay. So, fun episode.
Yes, definitely a fun episode. We will be back soon. Now, thankfully, one of the things that has been delaying us is my frustration with the awful recording situation we've had. For those of you who listen to episode 80, we apologize. That'll never happen again.
I think we have to have the group back on.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
With the
we'll
clear
have
sound.
we have some kinky mailbag stuff. So maybe and they've all volunteered.
Yeah, so we should do that.
Yeah. So we're gonna set up another group thing.
Ooh, any excuse to have the group thing.
We're gonna have not this rig, but we're gonna have our portable rig with us for Fetish Fair Flea.
Cool.
So we'll probably have an opportunity to do some podcasting there.
Okay.
But so very happy to announce the trip.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
It is interesting to be headlining. And let's see, is there anything else we wanted to say?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, in that case, we'd like to thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And we hope to be giving you a higher quality and even more interesting product in 2017. We have a few interesting things lined up. Don't want to spoil any of it. Don't want to jinx any of it, really. Spoiling is no problem, but I don't want to jinx any of it. I've been feeling like I've been jinxing myself lately on a few topics. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll keep stuff secret until it's time to announce it.
Secret,
but anyway,
secret.
Fun, interesting stuff. It should be a great year for us. We are planning on traveling more, seeing more sexy friends, seeing more swing setters out in the wild.
Uh-oh. Ding, ding, ding.
And just generally causing trouble, and all of that shit is great to podcast about.
It is.
So I'm optimistic for 2017.
I'm very.
Oh, and it is possible that this week I will end up closing the deal on the largest job our company has ever done.
Yay.
Thank you.
I don't want to jinx us by talking about it.
Yes.
But
No, that's all I'm going to say. But if I can put that together this week, 2017 will be a lot smoother.
Time away would be easier. That's for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much for still being there.
Yes,
even
thank
with
you.
our in and out of podcasting, although we've been doing better for the
Yes, we
last few
have.
months, but we're going to do even better.
Oh, yes, we are.
We love you guys. Every time we get to meet people from our audience, it is just an amazing experience.
A great
so
experience.
those
yes.
of you that we have already partied with at Desire and seen at cons or other events around, it has always been wonderful.
Yes. There were some people we didn't really get to spend as much time with this trip because we were so busy, helping out a little bit more because Ginger and Prof couldn't make this trip. But we love Life on the Swing Set people, and they do such an awesome job that, they could ask me for my right arm and I'd probably give it to them.
Well, and I have mentioned this on Twitter, but I don't think I've mentioned it on the show. I told Cooper and Dylan earlier this year that I now identify as much swinger as kinky, and it was mostly their fault.
Mostly, I'd say all their fault. Blame it all on them. Heck, just give it all. They don't mind taking the blame, believe me.
Well, they brought us to so many amazing swingers.
That's the funny thing is I can remember the very first time, like, it's probably not going to work out very well.
That's
we said,
the
we'll go.
thing. It's all psychology. It's all shades of gray. Like we've been open. I've been open my whole life. You've been open since you met me, or since shortly before you met me. We just never identified as swingers. There's always that illusionary separation between swingers and poly people and kinky people and a couple of other subdivisions. But really, we're all feeding at the same trough. I mean, we're all just a bunch of freaks, and we all feel like the world doesn't understand us, so we try to group together, but that's not the way, and that's what I like the most about the Swing Set Takeover, is that they have worked very hard, especially this year. They worked very hard to make sure that the kinky people were included.
Yes.
And, that we had space to breathe, and as a result, we got to put on an amazing event.
Yes.
And we have been asked to do it again next year. We've been told we could do it more than once next year, but I'm not sure. I think once on the trip is the right speed for that event, as we determined after discussing that with the other DMs.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's been truly amazing, and Yep, I just feel fortunate to be going into 2017. There's a lot of scary things about this year, but at least we've got really good friends.
I'm not scared. I think all of it, even, what looks like job is coming our way, is just a huge growth opportunity for us. And, I feel very fortunate because I believe that a lot, as weird as this is going to sound, the Desire trip has brought out some great changes in us that are positive changes. And me, for one, being more open in communicating with other people. Because,
yes, absolutely.
Like I said, even though we do the podcast, I'm shy. Even though people don't believe I'm shy, I really am. But each time that you get to know these people that go to Desire, they're all wonderful people. I mean, just amazing people. And their door is always open. I've not met a person yet who wouldn't give you a hug if you're having a bad day or say, hey, how can I help? And so all of it, just, I cannot express how much this trip was one of the best trips I've ever been on there. But I think it's because of all the other trips that I have grown from. So that being said, I'm not scared for this year. Because like I said, any negatives, I'll make it into a positive. And I think it's going to be an awesome year. I really do. So.
All right. Well, with that, let's close out our New Year's episode.
Okay.
Welcome to the new year. Fuck you to the old year. We had some good times, but we don't want to talk about you anymore. So we'll be back soon. Please feel free, as always, to send questions, comments, insults, and tirades to jvaltheros@gmail.com. Feel free to email Shara at jvshara@gmail.com. I won't invite you to send her tirades, but she can handle it.
I can handle it.
We are thrilled to be here at a new and renovated Mission Control. Can't wait to start doing some interviews.
Yes.
It's going to be a great year.
It is.
So to all of you, we love you. Thank you. We are eternally grateful. Please remember, if you can, to stop by iTunes and give us a good rating and review, because it really does help get the podcast out to more people.
It does.
And until next time, this is JV and Shara reminding you that sex is one of the greatest things in life, but there is always room for better.
Always.
When we were researching budget bondage gear at a listener's request, we stumbled onto extremerestraints.com and found the most impressive bondage gear site on the internet. And we don't say that lightly.
We bought a bunch of toys to try them out, and we're so impressed with the selection, quality, and service that we reached out to them about sponsoring the show.
From basic whips to top-notch floggers, from beginner cuffs to shackles and cages, from nipple clamps to fucking machines, from budget to bad fucking ass, ExtremeRestraints.com has put together an immense catalog of kinky gear that we honestly believe is second to none on the internet.
And not only do they offer a free gift and 99-cent toys for new customers, plain brown wrapper shipping, and free shipping on orders over $119, they'll give you 10% off if you enter the promo code ESDA at checkout.
And that's not 10% off on your first order. It's 10% off every order, forever, as long as you enter the code. Because they're awesome and they support this show. You can listen to episode 70 for more details, or just check out ExtremeRestraints.com, use the promo code ESDA, and get your kink on.